When we watch the infamous Amityville horror movie, the first thing that catches our eye about the movie is that it is based on true events. The film is based on a book by J. Anston called The Amityville Horror, a true story, with its tagline being more hideously frightening than The Exorcist itself, because it actually happened. The title of the book and its tagline itself looks like shady marketing. Well, before we unravel the truth about the Amityville Horror, let me just tell you about its story first. 30 miles outside of New York City, nestled in the Long Island town of Amityville, stands the house forever linked to the Amityville horror phenomenon. In November 1974, a seemingly normal DeFeo family resided in the Amityville home. One day at around 3:15 a.m., one of the DeFeo children, Ronald DeFeo Jr., also known as Butch, massacred his entire family as they slept. The 23-year-old went from room to room and shot both of his parents and his 4 siblings. DeFeo said that he heard voices in the house telling him to commit such an act. He was given 6 life sentences. Today he is still serving his time in a New York prison. The following year, a new family, the Lutzes, moved into the house. George and Katie Lutz, along with their 3 children, said that shortly after they moved in, their 6-bedroom abode became a hell house. According to George, there were odors in the house that came and went, and there were weird sounds. The front door would slam shut in the middle of the night. They couldn't get warm in the house for many days. George says that the family kept the fireplace burning day and night in a futile attempt to stay warm. The Lutzes claimed that a demonic face with glowing red eyes peered into the house at night, leaving cloven hoof footprints in the morning snow. George claimed that he mysteriously woke at 3:15 a.m. almost every day, around the same time the DeFeo murders were believed to have happened. One night, he says, he heard his children's bed slamming up and down on the floor above him, but he was unable to do anything because he was immobilized in bed by an unseen force. Also, sometime later, George discovered a small hidden room in the basement of the house. The walls were painted red and the room did not appear in the blueprints of the house. That room came to be known as the Red Room. The room had a profound effect on their dog Harry, who refused to go near it and cowered as if sensing something ominous. The day they moved in, they had a priest, Father Ray Pecoraro, bless the house. According to Lutz, the priest said he felt an unseen hand slap him in the sewing room. Painful blisters appeared on his hand and he heard a voice say, "Get out." Pecoraro then became ill with flu-like symptoms and his hands began to bleed. The next morning, just 28 days after they moved in, the Lutz family fled the house, leaving their clothes in the closet and food in the refrigerator. If the family had not left, George says, he believes something horrible would have happened. As word spread of the Lutz's experience, people interested in the paranormal contacted them. 2 months after the Lutzes moved out, reporter Laura Didio assembled a group of psychic researchers to evaluate the family's claims. The investigators spent a night in the house, walking from room to room, trying to pick up ghostly vibrations. One of the researchers, Lorraine Warren, remembers an overwhelming feeling of horrible depression in the house. The team also took a series of time-lapse photos of the upstairs landing. None of the photographs showed anything out of the ordinary except one, which had what Didio described as the face of what appeared to be a little boy peering out from one of the bedrooms. The result was that a book, The Amityville Horror, a True Story, was published in 1976. It went through 13 printings and sold more than 6 million copies. The film version, released 3 years later, was a huge box office success. George admits that some of the scenes in the book and the movie, such as the green slime, were exaggeration, but he insists that the book and the movie are based on events that actually happened during the family's 28-day stay in the house. Many people expressed their doubts about the events in the house. Researcher Rick Moran, for example, compiled a list of more than 100 factual errors and discrepancies between Anston's true story and the truth. And Father Pecoraro, the priest who was driven from the house by demons, according to Moran, who interviewed Pecoraro, the priest said that he never saw anything in the house. The truth behind the Amityville horror was finally revealed when Butch DeFeo's lawyer, William Weber, admitted that he, along with the Lutzes, created this horror story over many bottles of wine. The house was never really haunted. The horrific experience that they claimed to had was simply made up. J. Anston further exaggerated the tale for his book, while the Lutzes profited handsomely from their story. Although the story was made up by the Lutzes and further sensationalized by Anston, there were real victims of the Amityville horror. In addition to the murdered DeFeo family, the subsequent occupants of the Amityville house have suffered a continual stream of harassment by curiosity seekers, horror fans, and gawkers who want to photograph and tour the infamous house. The debate about the accuracy of the Amityville horror continues, and despite the lack of evidence to corroborate much of the story, it remains one of the most popular haunting accounts in American folklore. The various owners of the house, since the Lutz family left in 1976, have reported no problems while living there. James Cromartie, who bought the house in 1977 and lived there with his wife Barbara for 10 years, commented, "Nothing weird ever happened except for people coming by because of the book and the movie." But as always, my dear viewers, what do you believe? Do you think that the Amityville house is actually haunted? Let me know in the comment section down below.